Stop. Read this slowly. Beloved soul, before your thumb scrolls, before your mind dismisses this, before your heart says, this is too strong, pause. Because this is not comfort. This is not motivation. This is not encouragement. This is alignment. And God says, skipping this is not neutrality. It is a choice. You were taught that silence is safe, that ignoring a message is harmless, that scrolling past conviction means nothing. But heaven does not operate by human logic, and hell certainly doesn't. The most dangerous lie of this generation. There is a lie that has quietly reshaped faith. It sounds harmless, it feels reasonable, it even feels mature. The lie is this: I don't have to choose sides. But God says, refusal to choose me is already a choice against me. Neutrality does not exist in spiritual matters. You are either being pulled toward truth or being slowly numbed away from it. There is no middle ground, and the enemy knows this. That is why he does not always tempt you with sin. Sometimes he tempts you with disengagement. Why this message feels uncomfortable? Let's be honest. Something inside you reacted the moment you read the title. Your spirit felt tension. Your mind felt resistance. Your emotions said, this feels extreme. And that reaction matters. Because God says, conviction always disturbs comfort. If this message were meaningless, you would not still be here. If it were empty, your attention would have already drifted. The discomfort you feel is not manipulation. It is exposure. The devil doesn't need your worship. This is the part most people misunderstand. The enemy is not looking for you to bow down. He is not asking for rituals. He is not demanding declarations. He is far more strategic than that. The devil only needs one thing from you: distance from God. Not hatred, not rebellion, not denial, just distance. And distance is created not by loud rejection, but by quiet skipping. The power of just this once. You have said it before. Just this once, I'll ignore it. Just today, I'm too tired. I'll come back later. This isn't for me. And nothing bad happened immediately. So you assumed it was harmless. But God says, delayed consequence does not mean absent consequence. Spiritual drift never announces itself. It happens gradually, silently, almost kindly, until one day you wake up and wonder why prayer feels empty, why peace feels distant, why clarity feels gone, why the enemy hates this moment. Listen carefully. The devil does not fear your past. He does not fear your mistakes. He does not fear your weakness. He fears your attention. Because attention leads to awareness. Awareness leads to conviction. Conviction leads to obedience. And obedience destroys his access to you. So he whispers, this is too harsh. God wouldn't say that. This is fear-based. Scroll, don't engage. But God says, warning is not fear, it is mercy. Jesus never spoke softly about choice. People like to imagine Jesus as endlessly gentle, never confrontational, never demanding. But that version of Jesus is incomplete. Jesus said, no one can serve two masters. If you are not with me, you are against me. Wide is the gate that leads to destruction. Many will say, Lord, Lord, and still be denied. These were not suggestions. They were lines drawn in the sand. Why skipping matters more than you think skipping is passive. Heaven knows it is not. Every time truth presents itself, a decision is demanded, not always spoken, not always visible, but always counted. God says, what you repeatedly ignore eventually stops calling you. That is the danger. Not that God leaves you, but that your heart becomes less responsive to his voice. The quiet hardening of the heart. Hard hearts are not born, they are formed through Ignored nudges, dismissed warnings, delayed obedience, repeated avoidance, until conviction feels annoying, correction feels offensive, truth feels optional, and the enemy celebrates, not because you sinned, but because you stopped listening. Why this message found you. You didn't search for this. You didn't plan this moment. You didn't expect to read something this direct. And yet, here you are. God says, I sent this because gentler whispers were ignored. This is not condemnation. This is interruption, because time is tighter than you realize. The devil's favorite strategy: distraction, not destruction. The enemy does not need to ruin your life. He just needs to delay alignment. He will let you believe in God casually, pray occasionally, watch spiritual content selectively, avoid anything that demands surrender, as long as you never fully choose, because partial faith produces powerless lives. This is why the title is strong, not to scare you, but to wake you. Because God says, soft warnings no longer penetrate hardened attention. This generation is overinformed and undersubmitted. We know scripture, we know language, we know theology, but we resist obedience, and obedience is where authority flows. The line you don't see, but heaven does. There is a line, invisible to the eye, but clear in the spirit. Every time truth confronts you, you step closer to one side of it. You don't stand still, you move toward surrender or toward resistance. And God says, choosing not to respond is still response. Why you are still reading. This is important. If you were truly uninterested, you would have left already. If this had no authority, your attention would have broken. The fact that you are still here means something in you recognizes truth, even if your mind resists it. That is grace. But grace has a window. What happens next depends on you. God will not force you. He will not chase you endlessly. He will not beg for attention forever. He invites, he warns, he waits, but he also honors choice. And God says, what you choose after this will shape what follows. Do not rush past this line. This message is not judging you. It is revealing where you stand. The most misunderstood word in faith. Peace. Beloved soul, you were taught something dangerous. You were told, if you feel peace, it must be from God. But God says, not all peace comes from me. This sentence alone offends modern faith, because we have equated comfort with confirmation and calmness with correctness. But Scripture never said peace is the absence of tension. True peace often interrupts you. False peace numbs you, and the enemy knows this difference well. How the enemy uses peace as a weapon. Let me expose something carefully. The devil does not always attack with chaos. Sometimes he wraps chains in calm. He gives you a life that is stable, but stagnant comfortable, but unfruitful quiet, but disconnected religious, but unsubmitted. You still believe, you still pray, you still say, God knows my heart, but obedience has been postponed. And God says, delayed obedience is disguised disobedience. Why conviction feels like an attack. When truth confronts you, something inside feels irritated, not broken, not sinful, just resistant. And you mistake that resistance as, this doesn't feel right. This feels heavy. This feels condemning. But God says, conviction feels heavy only to a heart that wants to remain unchanged. Light feels harsh to closed eyes. Truth feels violent to hidden compromise. The moment many people crossed the line. This is where it gets serious. Most people did not walk away from God angrily. They drifted away politely. They said, I still believe, just not like that. God understands. This is too extreme. I'll take the parts that resonate. And without realizing it, they became editors of truth, instead of followers of it. God says, when you edit my word, you place yourself above it. And that is not discipleship. That is rebellion, dressed as discernment. The devil does not mind if you believe this will shock you. The devil believes in God. He knows Scripture. He recognizes authority. He understands truth. Belief alone has never threatened him. Obedience does. Surrender does. Alignment does. So he allows belief, as long as it never matures, into action. How skipping becomes spiritual alignment. Let's be very clear. Every time God convicts you and you avoid it, something shifts, not emotionally, not visibly, but spiritually. You train your heart to say, later. Not now. Maybe someday. And the enemy does not rush you. He waits, because repetition builds allegiance. God says, what you repeatedly ignore eventually loses authority over you. Why the message had to sound harsh? You wondered, why would God say, devil's side? That feels extreme. But listen carefully. God speaks clearly when stakes are high. He did not whisper to Pharaoh. He did not soften warnings to Israel. He did not negotiate with rebellion, because blurred lines produce destroyed lives. The myth of I'm still a good person. This sentence has ended more destinies than sin. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not hurting anyone. I'm better than most. But God never called you to be better. He called you to be His. Morality without surrender is still separation. And God says, goodness without obedience does not equal righteousness. The quiet transfer of loyalty. Loyalty does not change in one moment. It shifts slowly. One ignored nudge, one skipped warning, one delayed response, one rationalized compromise, until truth feels optional. And God says, the devil doesn't need your agreement, only your tolerance. Why many believers feel spiritually empty, they say, I don't feel God anymore. My prayers feel dry. I feel distant. But God says, distance began the moment you stopped responding. Not when you sinned, not when you failed, when you stopped listening. The most dangerous place to stand, not rebellion, not atheism, but lukewarm familiarity, knowing truth, hearing truth, quoting truth, but never moving when truth speaks. Jesus said this condition makes him sick, not angry, sick, because it looks alive, but carries no submission. Why this message is a mercy, not a threat. If God wanted to abandon you, He would let you scroll peacefully. No conviction, no interruption, no discomfort. The fact that this still stirs you means heaven is still reaching. God says, I warn the ones I still want. Silence is judgment. Warning is mercy. You are not too far, but you are not neutral. Hear this clearly. This is not saying you are lost forever. This is not saying you are rejected, but it is saying you are standing closer to a line than you think. And lines exist for a reason. The question, heaven is asking you now not, do you believe? But, will you respond? Belief hears, response follows, and the side you stand on is determined by response, not intention. Do not miss this truth. God is not competing for your attention. He is revealing your alignment, and He says, what you do after exposure reveals allegiance.